Who are ISIS? ISIS is one of the many names of a terrorist organization which stands for the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. They are sometimes simply referred to as IS, which is simply the Islamic State, while others refer to them as ISIL, which in turn stands for the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, based on an Arabic translation of al-Sham. At the same time, in Arabic, they're often referred to as Daesh, which is based on the acronym of Al-Dawla al-Islamiyyat fi al-Iraq wa al-Sham, which is the Arabic name of the Islamic State. The first incarnation of what would become ISIS was founded in 1999 by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in Iraq. It had the name of Jamaat al-Tawheed wa al-Jihad, which means the Organisation of Monotheism and Jihad. Its primary goal was to undertake a bombing campaign against the Shias and therefore create a sectarian war between Sunni and Shia in Iraq. In 2003, when the United States-led coalition invaded Iraq, they also used this coalition as a new target for their attacks and quickly became notorious. Soon after, in 2004, the group proclaimed its allegiance to al-Qaeda, a group that al-Zarqawi was known to and had tried to join in the 1980s, but had been rejected for being too severe. They renamed themselves to Tanjim Quaidat al-Jihad fi Bilad al-Rafaidin, which translates to the Organisation of Jihad's base in Mesopotamia, although soon after they frequently became referred to as AQI, or Al-Qaeda in Iraq, although they never referred to themselves as such. In 2006, the group banded together with several other Iraqi Sunni insurgent groups and formed the MSC, standing for the Mujahideen Shura Council. And in the years following, they would often ally with several of the Sunni tribes in the area, as well as with other insurgent groups, to become more powerful in the face of ingoing opposition forces. However, in 2006, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the group's founder, was killed, but he was replaced by the Egyptian Abu Ayyub al-Masri, who took over the organization and continued the fight against American and coalition forces, as well as the new Iraqi government. In light of the increasingly bloody sectarian conflict developing in the country, they declared the formation of the ISI, or the Islamic State of Iraq, which proposed a new, largely Sunni Arabic state in the western and central regions of Iraq, in the provinces of Al-Anbar, Baghdad, Salal al-Din, Diyala, Kirkuk, and Nineveh. However, soon Shia militias such as the Sons of Iraq, as well as of course United States forces, drove them back, and by 2010 around 80% of their senior leadership had been taken out, and the group's leader at the time, Abu Ayyub al-Masri, was also killed, and it looked like the group was on its knees and that it would be finished off. However, Abu Ayyub al-Masri was succeeded by a new and charismatic leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who took the group in a new direction. He changed the group's long-standing policy of not working with former members of the regime under Saddam Hussein, and recruited several of the generals and those with military know-how who had been under Saddam Hussein into the organization, thus bolstering its strength in numbers as well as in organizational capability. With these new commanders in tow, they began a new campaign which was aimed at freeing former members that had been interned in Iraqi prisons, as well as slowly building up their forces, planting car bombs and other suicide attacks to slowly mount pressure in Iraq underneath the surface while they replenished their strength. This led to, in 2011, the group being in a key position when the neighbouring country of Syria was plunged into civil war following a violent crackdown on protests against the country's president Bashar al-Assad. This led to the formation of the FSA, the Free Syrian Army, which then fought the Syrian army for control. ISIS knew that they could use this as an opportunity, and so al-Baghdadi sent a group into Syria of its own fighters, and he called this group Jabhat al-Nusra al-Sham, although in English this group is mostly referred to as the Al-Nusra Front. This was led by Abu Muhammad al-Julani. The group soon became the best disciplined and most effective of the rebel forces fighting against the Syrian government, and in 2013, after the group had successfully taken Raqqa, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi announced the creation of ISIL. This is the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant. However, the group leader of Al-Nusra Front, Abu Muhammad al-Julani, he did not agree to merging Al-Nusra Front with ISIS proper, and instead continued to support al-Qaeda, pledging his allegiance to this group. Al-Qaeda in turn demanding that Abu Bakr back down and did not in fact merge the two groups. This would eventually lead to conflict between ISIS, the original group, and the Al-Nusra Front in Syria. However, this would only be the start, and it's in 2014 that ISIS really comes into its own and makes world news. Be sure to check in a few weeks' time for the second part in the 5-minute history of ISIL.